This is my friend Scott. He invited me to join him, his brother-in-law Alan, and another guy named Eric for a weekend backpacking trip to the Red River Gorge. It's Scott's 32nd birthday, and this trip was more or less his birthday party. Before we could hit the road, we had to make a few stops. I drove to Scott's and put my things in his car. In turn, he drove us to Alan's house in Simpsonville, where we loaded our things into Alan's car. And then from there, we went to Walmart in Shelbyville so Scott could get the rest of his food.
A pack of instant mashed potatoes and a pack of ramen, and you put it all together in your stove. Lots of sodium, like 2,000 calories, just awful for you.
Now, backpacking tends to be populated by wildly individualistic people, in my experience. And this is most evident in the kinds of food that you see out on the trail. Now, for me, food is fuel. I want carbs and a little bit of flavor, and I'm hiking for the big good meal that we're going to have when we get done with the trip. Now, for Scott, he sees things a little differently. Once we wrapped up at Walmart, we got some gas, and we were finally ready to hit the road. I figured we were headed for the trailhead, but we had one more stop to make. Now, usually I save the beer and burgers for after the trip, but as an invited guest, I kept my mouth shut and enjoyed a brew and a sandwich. By 2 o'clock, we were ready to head over to the trailhead, which was a short drive from the restaurant. We parked at the gate on Rockbridge Road, got our gear sorted, and then we hiked down the road for about 2 miles where we found a trailhead.
Where's Scott? Which one? Yeah, we're all Scott squared over here.
I might have seen someone on Facebook about that. He's talking about that. He has some expired mushroom coffee. Doesn't that sound good?
So this trail goes, if you take one turn, it takes you jumping down by Rockbridge. And you take the other turn, you trail back.
Because the road was closed, we only hiked about a quarter mile before stopping at a nice campground that was loaded up with firewood.
Go ahead and start it up.
We got a couple hours.
It's a little early for a
I
fire.
say we take a trip out.
I mean, technically, you're not supposed to have a fire until 6 p.m., but
Oh, really?
that's the winter fire regulations are no fires
Well,
between
this is America, so
6 a and 6 p.m.
Yeah, I paid $3 for this, so
Right.
I'm gonna do what I want. I pay taxes.
Yeah, you do. They just don't want people
Alright.
having like day fires on a day hike because they get cold or something, and then just walking off on the stuff is probably what it is.
I got that.
I
Makes
mean,
sense.
they
Yeah,
did just have like
just
400
leave it.
acres burnt down like a couple years ago because of some idiots.
yeah.
Bunch of idiots.
Once we got camp set up, we decided to go out and hike and explore.
He tosses a stone at one time, doesn't hit it. Throws the stone at it again, hits it dead on, cracks the glass. Boom!
I mean, this is 12 ounces of gasoline.
We are lucky to not be dead.
Something sounded like it cracked. There it goes. Oh man, we shouldn't have been here so we could know if it made a sound.
Because the Gorge is only a national forest and not a heavily regulated national park like the Smoky Mountains, people camp everywhere and anywhere. and a network of unofficial trails snakes throughout the hills and the valleys, making
Yeah.
for some interesting adventures.
Yeah.
I just downloaded it on the way here because I left my map at home.
Yeah,
And I didn't know that they had the tracker on it where you can like Google Maps or watch me walk down the trail.
Yeah, half the time I'll forget to download the maps when I go into places that don't have coverage, but
That's what I thought about because we were in Scottsdale.
my testimony. We continue to try to find our way back. We're lost. We're gonna die, I know it. After a false start, we picked up the trail and found a cool, out-of-the-way rock house on the side of a cliff. One of the good things about the gorge is that the uphills are never that long. After a short climb, we made it back to the ridgetop and hiked our way through a copse of trees that had been blown down by a storm. It was like going through a place where maybe a Civil War battle or some kind of fight had taken place. And finally, once we got to the other side of that, we made it to the flat trail that took us back to the camp. Once we got back to camp, we unpacked our chairs and food and other refreshments and made ourselves comfy by the fire. Despite it being winter, the warmth of it made for a perfect night, and we had a good time telling stories and enjoying the peace of being outside in the woods.
But I don't care about that.
assuming you don't have to eat a lot.
Hmm?
I'm saying sometimes when you have to substitute proteins, that protein satiates you. So you have to find ways to,
Eat more.
eat more.
But you know what? I mean, if you are eating more of something that's better for you, it's going to fill you up and usually hold you over for longer too,
I mean, I eat a lot
So you
of
don't-
tofu too.
so you don't get those cravings later.
It's a protein source.
It's got a lot of protein and it tastes like meat.
The next morning, we had coffee and breakfast before breaking camp and hiking the 2.3 miles back to the cars.
Like a lot of them don't really get any money whatsoever. Like they're doing it as straight like real service, you know. Like of course, like our homeowners association president.
I don't know about you, but my life seems to always be moving too fast. And being able to get away from the blur of daily life and live in the woods, even if it's just for a weekend, it's almost like therapy. It forces you to slow down and live in the moment, to have long conversations and talk and listen and share and laugh. And when you get to do that with people that you love and like to be around, well, I can't think of a better way to spend a birthday.